It cannot, however, be denied that Ghazali's mission was almost apostolic, like that of Kant in Germany of the 18th century. In Germany, rationalism appeared as an ally of religion. But she soon realized that the dogmatic side of religion was incapable of demonstration. So, by rationalism here, he means rationalism in the sense in which it is contrasted with empiricism, and not rationalism in any other overarching sense in which it would be contrasted with irrationalism or something similar. Now, in Germany, rational appeared an ally of religion. Well, after Reformation in Germany, the religion was Protestantism. And Protestantism was because Protestantism actually came into power or became a dominant religion with the crucial help of German princes. And also because nationalism was a crucial part of German Reformation or German Protestantism. In its rebellion against Rome. So the rebellion against Rome, universalism was rebellion against the universalism of the Roman Church. On its own gave, through its translation of Bible into German Bible and Mass into German, church service into German, and then so that was its own intrinsic relationship with the nationalism, but also because it, without the help of the German princes, Protestantism could not have succeeded over the Catholic Church. Protestantism became not only the official religion, but also the foundation of German nationalism, or nationalism of New German kingdoms or states. And number three, the strong states which emerged. The whole notion of the divine rights of the kings was hinged on Protestantism. So the justification for the absolute right of those princes and those states was provided by Protestantism. And that's one thing. And philosophy as taught in universities. And university as an institution under the supervision of a state and funding from the state. It was a state institution. The philosophy taught in there could never have directly contradicted or contravened either the state or the Protestant religion. So the justification of religion, dogma in detail was provided by theology faculties, but philosophy and the philosophy which was dominant in this period was the Leibnizian rationalism as developed by Wolff. And his followers. Justified belief in God. And I don't think at any stage we can say that rationalism, and it is true, rationalism in general terms was an ally of Protestant religion, and at no stage at least it contradicted religion or belief in God, etc. You can't say that. And the justification of dogma in detail Leibniz philosophy is justification of belief in God and justification of the presence of evil and its compatibility with the notion of omnipotent, all-knowing and loving God is provided in Leibnizian philosophy. And I don't think it is the It was the function of philosophy to provide full-fledged justification of religious dogma, because that is the domain of theology, Protestant theology. I don't think it is true, as far as I know. It doesn't seem correct to say that in Germany rationalism, that's correct, but it is not correct to say that she soon realized that dogmatic side of religion was incapable of demonstration. Because if we look at Leibniz or Wolff or Baumgarten, and even Kant's pre-critical philosophy, I don't think this seems to be true. So I think it's hard to justify the claim that rationalism realized that the dogmatic side of religion was incapable of demonstration. And the only course open to her was to eliminate dogma from the sacred record. Neither Wolff nor Leibniz nor Baumgarten, these main rationalists before Kant, actually denied that dogmatic side of religion is incapable of demonstration, because they did provide proofs for the existence of God. And also they provided justification for the existence of evil, and that was one of the legacies of Leibniz, his theodicy, and its compatibility with the belief in an omnipotent, all-knowing, loving God was demonstrated by Leibniz as well as Wolff. And as far as the justification for detailed justification for the belief system of Protestant religious beliefs, detailed beliefs was concerned, that wasn't the domain of the philosophy at the time, but the domain of theology. And in fact, if there were philosophers who denied that the religious dogmas can be demonstrated or need to be demonstrated, they were actually empiricists. For example, one important figure in this context is Christian Thomasius, 1655 to 1728. Christian Thomas's father was actually the teacher of Leibniz, but Christian Thomasius was a thoroughgoing empiricist, not because he was irreligious. No, he wasn't an irreligious man. He was a Protestant believer, but because he thought that the essence of religion wasn't dogma, but feeling. And that was a reigning tendency in pietism, which was a very popular Protestant religious movement at the time. So I think to say that in Germany, rationalism appeared as an ally of religion. Couldn't have been otherwise, because universities were under the state and the religion was state sanctioned. Religion, Protestantism, and provided the justification for the state and the justification for the kings and their divine rights. And the prince were the heads of the churches. So, but she soon realized that the dogmatic side of religion was incapable of demonstration. This doesn't seem to be true, as I just explained. The only course open to her was to eliminate dogma from the sacred record. If the previous claim is not true, then this cannot be true, because as I just said, Wolff has detailed account of the belief in God and the existence of God and the justification for the existence of evil and all that. And in theology, the detailed justification for the detailed belief of the Protestant churches were provided at the time. But Iqbal's main claim seemed to be that with the elimination of dogma came the utilitarian view of morality, and thus rationalism completed the reign of unbelief. Let's see. So he's saying with the elimination of dogma came the utilitarian view of morality. Utilitarian view of morality. So as we saw, the dogma was never eliminated, so that dogma was never eliminated. So that can't be the justification or the explanation of the utilitarian view of morality. On the other hand, none of the rationalists Iqbal is talking about were utilitarians. Because both Wolff, Leibniz, and Wolff were not utilitarians. Wolff propounded a view of morality which is known as perfectionism, which had an influence on Kant as well. So that can't be true. I think what is true is the utilitarian view of philosophy. And that is not limited to rationalism. So you can say Wolff has a utilitarian view of philosophy, and I'll explain in a minute what it means. But not just Wolff, but the empiricist Christian Thomas's, who is just before Wolff, and some of his period might overlap with Wolff as well. He also propounds a utilitarian view of, and that utilitarian view of philosophy is there not because the dogma is gone, but because of the Cartesianism, or because of Descartes, or because of what modern philosophy is. Because both, as we said before, both rationalist and empiricist are, in fact, in crucial aspects, the followers of Descartes. And one of the things which Descartes propounded was a utilitarian view of not just philosophy, but knowledge as such. And what Descartes said was, and that was his part of his critique of scholastic philosophy, which was scholastic or Aristotelian philosophy which was taught in Catholic seminaries and Catholic universities. One of his basic critique of that philosophy was that it is useless. That is, it is speculative. It doesn't have any fruit for life, use for life. So this was a new criterion which Descartes was actually putting forth, and what he was saying is that what we need is not just truth, but usefulness. Knowledge should be useful. In what sense? So he rejected scholastic philosophy as speculative, as useless philosophy, because it wasn't useful for life. And one of the merits of his own philosophy, he said, was his natural philosophy was that it was useful for life. So knowledge should be useful. So usefulness would be a criterion from henceforth to judge whether knowledge is true or not, in a sense. Or another way of saying is that truth is subservient to usefulness. And what does usefulness mean for Descartes? For usefulness, he specifies what usefulness is. to make knowledge is useful, which make us, that humans. Masters and possessors nature. The useful mean so that humans can become masters of this universe, this nature. And that's the basic humanism of modern philosophy. And through usefulness and this mastery of nature, this humanism is crucially related to capitalism, which was emerging at the time. And as we know, Protestantism wasn't just allied to nationalism, but also to capitalism. And the foundation for these was provided by, at least in part, both rationalist and empiricist Cartesian philosophies, which called for useful knowledge and rejection of useless knowledge, which was the old Aristotelian scholastic Catholic views of knowledge. And if we look at German rationalists, so in Wolff, you will find that this utilitarianism, utilitarian view of not morality, but utilitarian view of knowledge, you will find it in Wolff, you will find it in Christian Thomas Hayes. So it wasn't so with the elimination of, so dogma wasn't eliminated, came the utilitarian view of morality. Not utilitarian view of morality, but utilitarian view of knowledge, which was related to the mastery of nature and capitalism, and whose foundations were provided by Descartes. And this view was inherited by rationalists as well as empiricist followers of Descartes. And thus rationalism completed the reign of unbelief. Rationalism didn't complete the reign of unbelief. It provided justification for God. It provided proof of God. What it completed was the transcendence of a particular conception of knowledge, which was aimed at truth, and replaced it with a conception of knowledge which was based on utilitarian view of knowledge, and which is related to modern capitalism, the modern movement to achieve the mastery of nature, modern humanism. And for that you don't need unbelief, you just need a belief which is compatible with such a view of knowledge. And in early modern time, Protestantism was that system of belief. So we should stop here and we'll continue with it.